Who should intro this one?
Chris.
Okay.
He does all the 10 forwards.
Well, no, Ames did the fanfic.
I did the fanfic one.
Do you want to do this one?
No.
Oh, well then Chris. Then somebody else wants to.
Hello, and welcome to A Star to Steer Her By, 10 Forward number 3, Where No Fan Has Gone Before.
Woo!
This, for those who don't know, is an episode of Futurama, wherein most of the surviving TOS cast lent their voices to themselves. Turns out in the 31st century, Star Trek has been banned.
Whoops.
And Fry, along with the head of Leonard Nimoy being kept alive in a jar, convinces Leela and Bender to help him go look for them. They find all the other actors living on the planet with the episodes. Turns out they were kidnapped by Melvar, the energy being that found the tapes and became obsessed with Star Trek and is now going to force them all to have an eternal Star Trek convention with him.
So us in a couple years.
Yeah, pretty much.
When we merge into one giant cloud and move to another planet because we've been kicked off of this one. As well, we probably should.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I mean, you know, the chances are if you follow us, you've probably already seen this episode. Unfortunately, it used to be on Netflix, but is not anymore. We luckily, one of us had the DVDs, so we were able to watch it. I think supposedly it's supposed to eventually transfer to Hulu, but I don't know for certain. It's out there somewhere, though, if you really want to watch it.
They play Futurama on, what, Spike TV? They play on something.
I haven't had cable in years, no idea.
I like people are really cloak and dagger about who owned the DVDs, like it's like an identifying piece of information.
Yeah, I guess
They
it's...
can't know who it was.
Someone owned the DVDs.
We won't say who.
But yeah, we've been talking about this one for a while, we've been wanting to watch it, and we figured the best time would be, as a little stopgap between the end of the animated series.
Which is over now. It's over now, guys.
And
Thank Christ.
the start of the TOS crew movies. So, yeah, where no fan has gone before. Chock a block with references.
So many references.
Ones I'm sure we missed.
Well, I happened to look on the Memory Alpha when I was looking up stuff, and yeah, it's like a list the length of my arm of references that you could catch.
Mm.
I mean, and some of them are very subtle, vague things, which I'm not even sure the writers necessarily would have meant, but you can always read between the lines if we're writing up articles on the internet. So.
Yeah, it's a fun episode.
Oh, it's so fun.
It's great.
It is nice to watch it, right on the heels of
The worst thing that ever happened.
Let's say a rewatch of TOS, more or less.
The characters looked a whole lot better, too.
Oh, God, so much
And they
better.
had Chekhov.
Yes, they did have Chekhov.
But
Walter
no Scotty.
Koenig. Walter Koenig's got a decent voice for when he's not being Russian.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed seeing him.
Became an actor, a well-rounded person with his own friends and credit cards and keys.
Good for him.
Such a good line.
So many sandwiches. Yeah, Doohan refused. I guess his agent wouldn't allow it.
Wait, what else was he doing at this time?
I don't know, but I wonder, because I know, was it last week that I mentioned that he had Alzheimer, died in 2005?
Well,
And this came out in
maybe he was-
2002. I wonder if it was
unhealthy.
starting then, but I'm not going to make that claim.
It is
Because that would be a
possible.
good
I mean,
reason
it could
to
have been
say
health
out.
reasons. You could just classify that under health reasons, but it still would have been nice. A nice send-off.
Although Welshie was a fine replacement.
That's true.
Yeah, the implication of his only line is that Welshie was, unlike Doohan, actually Welsh, too.
Yes.
He certainly sounded it.
And possibly not able to speak English, because that didn't sound like English.
Welsh doesn't sound much like English.
Welsh didn't sound much like that, either.
No, that was probably really Welsh.
Was it? Maybe.
Was it Welsh or was it English in a thick Welsh accent, which sounds the same?
I think it was supposed to just be straight up Welsh.
Oh, snap.
And of course, but that did allow them to actually be able to kill off a red shirt.
They did. No, I feel like the inclusion of Welshie made for a really solid joke.
Yeah, it did. They made lemonade out of lemons.
Apparently, Shatner once refused to be on The Simpsons. And is reportedly, and this may be incorrect, but is cited as the first to refuse an appearance on The Simpsons.
Wow.
Don't know
Why
why.
did he okay.
I don't know. Yeah, I did. They
I'm
didn't say
actually
why.
I'm going to give
but-
props to all of them that appeared, but also particularly to Shatner because it definitely played up a lot of the Shatner tropes in this show of him being egocentric and.
He gets it, I think.
I think he does. I
I've
think
read 2 of his books now. He gets it.
Yeah, I mean he's
he
clearly developed
understands.
a good sense of humor about himself, so I thought that was good.
Which he's recently lost, apparently. But
Has he?
well, he's been being a dink on Twitter. We talked about last week, so.
Oh, I don't remember. Last week. I don't even remember an hour ago.
I'm having trouble remembering when Scaramucci was our press secretary.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I love? And again, this probably wasn't so much an intentional thing, but it still worked out. I can't remember what the episode was, but there was an episode of the original series where like they're being attacked by some sort of like, it was the Lights of Zetar. The lights have been chasing them down, going to sort of attack them. And then it just kind of stopped for a while until it was convenient for them to be attacking again. And it kind of felt like that with, where towards the end of the trial and Zap is like, so, I boarded you, eh? And then what happened? It's like, we're still fighting Melvar! And,
That's a fantastic frame device. I like that a whole lot.
yeah, but it's funny, now, being quite literal, though, I mean, Fry did go to Omega whatever there.
3.
3. He was guilty.
He should be serving 12 concurrent death sentences according to Zap Brannigan's law or whatever.
Which, I mean, that's the thing. That probably is just something Brannigan made up. He does like to make things up.
I would just like to know whether or not the court found him guilty.
He also took the fucking Star Trek footage back. He stole stuff that, they sent out into space specifically so that, it's banned. He just stole banned cargo and is keeping it for himself. Like, he's a criminal.
Now, was only the original series banned? Because it didn't look like there was enough tapes on there to be...
No, it was definitely just the original.
Yeah, they
And
said
the
it was
movies.
the 85 tapes or something, which is the... Yeah,
79
which is...
tapes, I think. No, 79 episodes, sorry, you're right.
Yeah, because it's 85 because it's those plus the 6 movies.
Right. No, you're quite right.
Oh, so they could have watched the animated series.
They wouldn't. They
I'd like to
shouldn't.
think that when the cult of Star Trek took over the planet, they
destroyed
Those are
all
considered
of them.
apocrypha.
And it was just all destroyed, completely and utterly.
As well they should be.
But yes, it does sort of leave the door open to, like, what about the other series?
It's a fine touch that the Church of Star Trek began in the 23rd century.
Yeah.
When the show takes place. Tee.
And, of course, in the audience, you had
Yeah, the
Oh yeah.
Last Battlefield aliens.
the half
They were
moon,
sitting
the half
right
moon
next to each
cookie
other.
people.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Germany became Nazi planet episode land.
Yes. Oh, jeez.
Jake's favorite.
That's so unfortunate.
What else? When they first get to the planet, what do we see? We see the Guardian, the half-completed buildings from the OK Corral episode.
Which I loved.
The backdrop from Rome Planet.
Yep.
Yeah, the gamesters were there.
Their brains,
Yep.
yep. And I think like what was supposed to probably be like, oh no, that's what it was. It was the car that Kirk and Spock.
Oh, was the
steal
car there? I didn't see
in,
the car.
Piece of the action. I'm trying to think if that was everything they sort of panned. It's a quick pan, so it's possible there were other things we didn't see.
Yeah, a dutiful nerd would have gone through that frame by frame.
Yeah, totally. They would have stopped and seen what the T-shirt said of all the Trek nerds they were throwing into the volcano.
Hopefully one of them said Kirk is a jerk.
Want that shirt?
Oh god, the reference to Shatner's musical career, as it were.
Spoken word.
Yes.
Spoken word rap song.
How do you do a spoken word version of a rap song?
He found a way.
The fight to the death, making...
What was that like? What was that? Was that a parody of like... Was it the Gorn, or was it also that other one with Lincoln?
I think it was
Kind
a
of all the
bit of
above.
all
Yeah,
of
well,
them.
he listed
Yeah, the
all the
episodes he
episode
got.
numbers that had battles to the death.
That's true.
in them.
Right.
But
Yeah,
so-
the writer, David A. Goldman, who, was the biggest Trekkie on the Futurama staff by all accounts.
Which is probably saying something.
Yeah, like they said, you're the one who should write the Star Trek episode of Futurama, and he just went with it. And I think he did a fantastic job. He
No, it's great.
later went on to write for Enterprise.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh wow. Nerd's dream come true.
I hope they were good ones.
I wouldn't know, but yeah, so he just ladened it with references to as much stuff as he could pack in.
Nice.
I really loved that they got Shatner to say, yeah, and in Star Trek V, I got a great performance out of me because I respected me so much. Like, I just...
And then behind him, they animated Nichelle Nichols and Leonard Nimoy to just roll their eyes.
Aw.
Boy, we sure are going to be watching Star Trek V in a few weeks.
What does God need with Star Trek? The fan dance, of course, makes an appearance.
Yep.
Speaking of Star Trek V. But yeah, no, I feel like, the making spears out of sticks thing, that's more of a nod to the Lincoln one.
Yeah.
What was that? What the hell's that one?
Savage Curtain.
Savage Curtain.
But-
Kirk does have some bamboo in his hands, which I think is probably supposed to be like a bit of a...
Gorn.
The Gorn, because the cannon was
Made
a
of
large piece of bamboo.
Yeah. What about the machine gun?
The machine guns form a piece of the action.
Yeah.
The fact that Bender uses all the ammunition in one go.
I mean, it works
It's just
out.
fun.
'Cause
That's just because it's Bender.
they would have killed, some of the Star Trek cast otherwise.
Well, because I was also thinking
More
of,
Welshy than most.
I was thinking of, was it on Shore Leave? Where
Sulu
Takei
finds
just
a
finds
pistol.
a
Oh, that's
gun
also
randomly.
true.
I was thinking of that, but...
Yeah, maybe. It could have been both.
Yeah, it was a Tommy gun, though.
Wait,
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
there another one though where we were like, oh, just any weapons you find, and then there were actually just a bunch of weapons, or am I making that up?
I don't know what you're talking about.
All right.
I know in Arena they were like, you have to build your own fucking weapons.
Clearly, it was a fever dream. Don't worry about it.
Then, I mean, this wasn't quite the same thing, but there was Friday's Child, where they had to improvise weapons, and that's when
Bows
they
and
made
arrows?
their own bows and arrows, which worked much better than Fry's.
Not out of caterpillars.
Did not wind up with caterpillars in their mouths.
Ugh.
I forgot that this was the episode that had a balloon and something bad happened.
Yeah.
There's a lot of some of the best lines from Futurama all in this episode.
As they're escaping, or as they're trying to rescue the crew, Melvar reaches out to them a la Apollo
Big green hand.
and grabs the ship.
Yep.
And then, of course, a la Squire of Gothos, they get away because Mom shows up.
But he's actually 34.
She had kicking glasses too.
She did. Those
She
were
looked
She
good.
looked good for a cloud being.
I'd hit it.
Yikes.
So I
Oh
can
my.
figure out which... Yeah.
Well, if it's anything like the cloud from the animated series, it's got an entrance and an exit. So
Oh, God, no, it is not like that.
It might be.
I hope not.
no.
But yeah, no, the animation here much better than the animated series.
quite
Characters
good.
actually moved.
Yeah, the
I felt-
fights all look good too.
They did.
I felt like they did a really nice job of expressing McCoy.
Yeah.
Even though he didn't have a voice, like I feel like he just even the way he was just sitting in the art like
With his
chair
arms
with his arms
folded.
folded and looking bitchy. I was like, oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, no, he may not have been there, but they nailed him. Regardless, they
Poor
did a
DeForest
really good
Kelly.
job.
Yeah, I was glad he got to punch Fry a couple of times. You get him, D.
And then when Bender was getting ready to sock Walter Koenig in the face, I don't know. I wanted to do this for years, Koenig.
That's one of those things I like. I'm glad we don't know. Like, I feel like it's one of those things, like, if Stephen Moffat had taken over Futurama, he'd have given us a whole episode to explain why that line existed. But I'm glad that it's left up to our imagination. Why does Bender hate Walter
I
Koenig
wonder,
so much?
like, how much do they know? Because they don't. If Star Trek is banned, how does the 30th century or 31st century population know like the context for who these guys are?
I mean,
Because I know like Nimoy had his one man Van Gogh show, which was an
Yeah.
actual thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, and he did actually like books of photography.
Well, that I knew,
Poetry.
yeah.
He did a lot of
Poetry.
poetry.
Yeah, that I knew. The one thing I didn't know was real was the Van Gogh one.
Yeah, I read about that somewhere.
That's neat.
I
He
want
also
to get
got,
his poetry.
He's got photo books. He's just a photographer.
Yeah.
Fat chicks.
I just said that.
Naked fat chicks.
I didn't mention about the fat chicks, but yes, there were also women of size, a particular book.
But, well, I mean, the thing is, too, is, I mean, this, I think, sort of like Jake, you were saying last week, they didn't worry as much in the original series about canon and stuff. They just wanted to tell the story they wanted to tell. And this, I think, again, not an intentional sort of nod, but took a page out of that book, because there had been at least one very direct reference to Star Trek before in Futurama.
At least one. I feel like it's come up before, and they just kind of ignored that.
Yeah, but...
It's taboo, but we're getting away with it.
Yeah, like specifically,
In retrospect.
the one I know off the top of my head is when they first introduced the dupe, the Democratic Order of Planets. They're first like, oh, it's like the... Trying to explain to Fry, like, oh, it's like the UN. And Hermes goes, or like the Federation from your Star Trek program. Oh, okay. So, I mean, people are aware of it, even if they can't technically talk about it in public.
Is it the national anthem on Zoidberg's planet?
It's the fight music. But that's not Earth, so...
It's true.
Maybe that's how they know. There are other planets where you can find it, so they just go on the internet and like, oh, that's okay. Yeah, about 30 good ones. Or as I like to call it, the Futurama count.
Mm-hmm.
And Jonathan Frakes has a brief cameo.
Yes.
Good for him.
Front
I like it.
Of course, in the world of Futurama, they can only discuss his directing, but not Star Trek movies, so...
What else has he done?
I think he's directed other things.
He was in Beyond Belief, Fact or Fiction, which was fun.
I don't know what that is.
You never saw Beyond Belief, Fact or Fiction?
Never even heard of it.
Me either.
It was like kind of like Unsolved Mysteries a little bit.
It was more. They took. What word am I looking for here? What's the thing like the go like a lot of them were ghost stories.
Oh, like Amazing Stories. You ever see Amazing Stories?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like Amazing Stories, except the shtick was that some of them were real.
Oh.
Or there were actual accounts, like someone took a girl that they liked home and she left her sweater in the car, and when he went to her house the next day to return the sweater, it was a graveyard and he found her grave and she'd been dead all along. But where did the sweater come from?
And this story is a fact. Wasn't that a thing too, where like at the end they'd always reveal which ones were fact and which ones were fiction?
Some of them were trippy.
Well, but they were all horse shit.
Yeah, they were all silly, like cute little reenactments of stories with extra details sewn in.
Yeah, that's where I was thinking Unsolved Mysteries.
Holy crap, he has directed a ton of television and not just Star Trek.
Yeah.
Yeah, Roswell, Twilight Zone reboot, Masters of Science Fiction, Leverage, Dollhouse, Castle.
Oh, Dollhouse.
NCIS LA, Persons Unknown, The Good Guys, The Glades, Burn Notice. Bunch of shows I haven't heard of. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., The Librarians.
Well, I'm glad he finds work, because I always kind of feel bad for some of the Trek actors, because a lot of them
just kind of
don't end up doing a lot else.
Yeah, it sounds like he ended up, he still does stuff, but he has gone very much behind the camera.
And then the others are Patrick Stewart, who can do anything.
Yes, Patrick Stewart, who has very much remained famous, despite being in, well, I won't say despite, I'll say including being in the Emoji Movie as Poop.
But we heard that was a great movie, Jake.
Yeah, I know. It is really good. I think
Michael
really
Dorn
encourage you to watch it.
has played Worf enough that he's probably just going to get royalty checks till the end of time that'll keep him in ham sandwiches.
Although I feel bad for Dorn because I keep hearing about him wanting to do more Star Trek stuff. And they just won't let him. Yeah.
Well, I know they were gonna have him be in Discovery, but I guess they offered him a fucking pittance, and he was like, "Piss off."
Oh. Really? So why won't they let him be in other series?
Well, I don't know. No, because he wanted to do a series. He wanted to produce
a Worf series.
A Worf-centric series.
Does anybody need that much Worf?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I don't know. Worf is a great character to have and to do stories about. But not every
Worf all the
I don't
time.
know if I need to see the adventures of Ambassador Worf.
Yeah.
Because isn't that where they left off? He was ambassador to the Klingon.
I think that's where
it could have been young Worf.
I think that's where they ended him on.
Yeah, but Michael Dorn has not grown younger.
DS9.
Oh yeah. Well, maybe we should put him through some kind of supernova. See if we can age him backwards, and then.
I mean, you could also have Michael Dorn come back and play any other member of his family.
True.
He could also be something else because. You don't necessarily recognize him without the Klingon makeup.
He does have a fairly distinctive voice, though.
Yeah.
I feel like even if he tried, you'd be like, that's Michael Dorn.
Put it to a...
I remember when he did commercials for either Head & Shoulders or T-Gel, one of the dandruff shampoos. It was immediately obviously him, and you didn't even see him on camera. But yes, you're right, Jake. Back to the Future rules seem to apply in the Star Trek universe. Where
everyone's ancestors look the same.
Yes.
Back to the Future rules.
Including Data's ancestors.
Yes, all of them. Jesus. That is a strong fucking bundle of chromosomes.
But Data's a robot.
Well, yeah, but there's the guy that built him.
Yeah. Make him in your image.
Data was designed to look like his creator. But then we met his creator's
grandfather or something.
And it was also played by Brent Spiner.
Yeah.
It seems really kind of gross to make a robot that looks like yourself.
Yeah. He actually made like...
Can't imagine anyone being more beautiful.
He actually made...
Then you could fuck yourself.
5 robots that looked like himself.
5? I only knew about 3.
I don't want to fuck.
But there's a lot of
looks
TNG
like
I've not
myself.
seen.
Yeah, there's Data, Lore, and then there were 3 prototype androids before Lore. One of which I assume is B4 that we actually meet, and then the other 2 we never actually see.
Oh, okay, they're just referenced.
They're referenced.
I see.
Okay, can we get out of TNG because we're not there yet?
So close.
Soon though. Yeah.
Very, very soon.
Yeah.
So other stuff on Futurama. Apparently, this episode was nominated for Best Script by the Nebula Awards, which are sci-fi awards, and lost to Lord of the Rings.
Ugh.
Lame.
Really?
Lord of the Rings really blew.
The second one, I think.
So
Lord of the Rings
that's not even the good one.
I like the second one. The second one's the one I watched the most.
Yeah, me too. I actually did like the second one.
But wait,
I thought the Battle of Helm's Deep's pretty cool.
It does seem a little bullshit that it lost to Lord of the Rings, because, of course, that's an adapted script, whereas this was original. Like, I know in a lot of award shows, they have, the Oscars, the only one I know for certain. They do have separate categories for adapted works and original works.
Well, but also, Lord of the Rings isn't science fiction, it's fantasy.
I mean, this may be an all-encompassing genre.
What award was it? The
Anything
Saturn?
Nebula.
The
Nebula.
Nebula Award?
Yeah, the Saturn Awards, I think, are specifically
I don't know.
science
Nebula sounds like science fiction to me.
I mean,
There's no
science
nebulas in
fiction,
fantasy
fantasy,
books.
You know, their whole concept is a little nebulous.
Hey,
But yeah, they tend to get lumped together now. It's just like you've got a weird problem. Whether or not it's science fiction or fantasy seems to come down to whether it was fixed by science or a wizard.
Wizarding.
I mean, that's true, but science fiction and fantasy nerds never in the twain shall meet. It
But
just doesn't-
by that logic, though, where does Star Wars fall?
Well, I don't necessarily agree with this. It's just something that has
Because
happened.
Star Wars is
Science-
basically just wizards.
It's a religion.
But they're like wizards.
But it's not. But it's
so
a
really,
religion.
what you're saying
they
is
carry stabs.
it should be in the same
Staves?
section as Passion of the Christ.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Star Wars would definitely win against Passion of the Christ.
Passion
Maybe.
of Christ, I don't know, has some pretty good fucking torture porn, though.
True.
I haven't seen it. Didn't you see it with a friend and laugh at it a lot?
No, we didn't laugh. There was anyway.
I had to leave the theater for a little while during
Yes,
that.
yeah. But Futurama, they did an excellent little tribute stroke parody. Mm-hmm. You know, a good outing, or probably the last sort of group outing for most of the crew.
Yeah. So this was 2002, right?
Yeah.
Last sort of big reunion with as
the
many people as they could get.
Yeah, I mean that.
Except for Doohan. Apparently, their working title for this script was "We got everybody but Scotty," and they changed it later, obviously.
It's a good working title.
Yeah. Have any of them appeared other than Leonard Nimoy obviously did appear in Star Trek after that, but
Yep.
none of them appeared in Enterprise as far as I know. So
Not that I'm aware of.
And why don't they ask Walter Koenig back?
I know he was going to appear in one of the sort of better funded fan movies at one point. It was one set.
Are we gonna pay him in ham sandwiches or?
Maybe, but no, it was one that was set in the 24th century. So by then he's Admiral
oh boy.
Chekhov.
Admiral Chekhov?
And like,
Everybody that ever enters Starfleet eventually becomes an admiral.
Yeah, no, it's
Or
inevitable.
gets killed horribly.
I
Or
will
an
say
ambassador.
that the First Contact style uniform looks good on him.
I think maybe that's the answer to the Kelvin timeline problem. Maybe they send old Chekhov, and now he'll
to
be
replace the actor that died.
Anton Yelchin. May he rest in peace.
All they said was that they weren't going to recast Chekhov, not that they weren't going to bring back the original.
They'll just slather him in pounds and pounds of makeout to smooth out his skin.
They were twins,
Yeah,
or he could have been his dad.
it's true.
He would also still be Chekhov.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a terrible idea.
Sounds complicated.
I thought it was funny that they didn't have enough scripts, and so therefore Walter Koenig was the one who had to like share with George Takei.
Well, that's because that's what happened in season 2 on the original series.
What?
Well, because Takei was away doing movies and stuff a whole lot, they made them share a dressing room, and I think they often had to share a script. And Takei was pissed, of course, but I don't know.
And Walter was just like, well, as long as I get my ham sandwich.
Walter was like, wait, I get the dressing room?
I like that in
I
our
don't have
heads
to
he's
change in
always
the
Russian.
bathroom.
Yeah.
No, it was still the bathroom. They just,
Aww.
They just put a little star on it, wrote Koenig and Takei.
to Koenig.
Yeah.
Hey.
Nailed it.
There we go.
But I'm the first person to ever come up with that.
I'm sure.
Maybe.
I was wondering, though, Melvar. The fuck, dude? Where was the bridge rail on your bridge?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Harsh.
What the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
He missed a key
Well, I mean,
detail.
he likes to claim he's such a badass.
Yeah.
Where's
Yeah, but we
your
know
bridge
he's not.
rail?
We watched it happen that he, in fact, was not, in spite of the fact that,
Yeah, no.
Fry hadn't seen the shit in 1,000 years. And he would...
Fry one more Quatloos.
Mm-hmm. I do like the Quatloos was the currency
Yeah.
being awarded.
Not till I get my Quatloos.
Ambassador Sarek's Trivia Challenge. It's a good
Cute.
name for a Star Trek
Cute.
themed trivia challenge, actually.
Oh, there was a nice touch on the Planet Express ship where they show Bender in what looks like a Jeffries tube.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I knew there was
From the
something.
angle that they usually show Scotty in his Jeffries tubes.
Yep, where he's done jiggering the what's it or whatever he said.
Sounds like engineering talk.
Yep. Of course, the nacelles adapted from the rockets on the ship that the crew was taking to live in Welshie's cousin's guest room.
All of them in one guest room, I think, is my favorite piece
Well, because they
of
were
that.
just in
Well,
jars.
his head,
so-
Oh, that's
yeah.
true,
Just
yeah,
put it
you're
on
right.
a shelf. They'll be fine.
No,
Yeah.
you're right. I was thinking
'Cause, it is confusing because he says it when he has
when
a
they
body.
have a body, yeah.
But yeah, they were headed there as heads in jars.
Headed there.
Ah.
Hey.
I was gonna say.
The ceiling of the Christine Chapel in the little Trek church they show in
Yeah.
the flashback.
Oh, I
It's a
didn't
cute
hear
touch.
that.
Oh yeah,
Great.
there's a sign. The ceiling of the
No.
Christine Chapel is closed for repairs.
The Christine Chapel.
He's dead, Jim. Of course, as they throw the Trekkies into the
The
volcano.
nerds into the volcanoes.
The method of execution most befitting virgins.
He's dead, Jim. He's dead, Jim. He's dead, Jim. The best. If I'm ever thrown into a volcano, I hope that they will say that.
Why would you be thrown into a volcano in
I
this
have
century?
reasons.
Jesus Christ.
It's more likely than you think, dude. Like, dozens of people die every year from volcano-related throwings.
Someone send help.
More than shark attacks.
Yep.
Sharks, not that deadly.
No, I know.
They're
I
kind
was
of
just-
I wonder how long it would take to die if you got thrown into a volcano.
I imagine it would
Very
be seconds
quickly.
Well,
because...
you would think that.
Is it actively erupting? That's the first question.
Well, because I feel like the
Well-
heat would be so hot that your brain would just...
Yeah, you'd burst into flames before you even hit the lava.
You think so?
No, you definitely would. That's actually a
How hot
massive.
is lava?
Actually a massive sort of
It's fucking
failing
hot.
in movies and shows all the time. They show people get really close to lava, like you're okay until it touches you.
And in Super Mario Brothers games.
That too.
Oh.
But in reality, lava is actual non cooled lava is so hot that if you try to even get close to it, shit's gonna just burst into flames. Like anytime you see in television or movies lava getting close to people, in reality they're already dead. Like in movies they act like it has to touch you to kill you, but that's not the case.
I have to say, when I was a kid, I thought lava was going to be a much bigger problem.
Like
it's proven
quicksand.
to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, quicksand, lava.
I've never seen
Klingon
quicksand.
invasion.
Neither.
Like, any of these
nor
things
lava. No.
seemed like they were a serious problem that I would have to deal with in my life. And so far, at least, I have not encountered...
Well, admittedly,
Either of those.
we don't live in the Ring of Fire. For those people, lava actually is potentially an issue.
And it burns.
The
Yeah.
Ring of Fire.
There are some areas in the world where lava does actually have to be worried about.
Well, Hawaii is like an active
Yeah, there's a lot of
volcano thing.
yeah, and certainly I don't think it's quite as bad. But I'm sure there's whole areas of Iceland you really shouldn't go to because it's quite volcanically active.
Iceland is one of very few places I would be willing to travel to because I'm not terribly interested in traveling 95% of the time. But Iceland looks fucking cool.
Oh,
Is
there
Iceland
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, is Iceland the place that has those great glass igloos where you can sit up and watch the Aurora Borealis?
Maybe.
That's like my
I
dream.
haven't heard that
Wanna
one.
go?
I know they have, hot
Ames, you and
springs
me.
things.
Let's go. Let's go to Iceland.
Okay,
We'll go to some
Antarctica's
hot springs.
afterwards.
I am
any,
not
like-
going to Antarctica. That's just
No,
asking
no,
for
no.
trouble.
You're not invited. Just me and Ames.
Yep.
It's gonna be the romantic getaway we both deserve.
Yeah, we'll go to Iceland and pat the puffins. We'll go to Antarctica and pat the penguins.
Are there any, disaster movies? Because, every disaster movie opens with, a couple of people being, affected by the thing that'll eventually...
one little science team.
Yeah, well, I always see, the beginning of
Tornado.
Armageddon
Yeah.
has a small asteroid crashing into New York. And, that's the big deal. So I was thinking you could do a volcano movie that has, some hot chicks in a hot spring in Iceland.
And those are going to be me and Caitlin?
Perfect.
Enjoying the hot spring and be like, oh, this is such a great vacation. And then like some broy guys show up and they're like, yo, Michelle, you mind if I get in there with you? And she's like, I don't know, David. You've been very mean. I saw you kissing Shelly last week.
Oh no, my swim shorts floated away.
Oh, it's okay, Michelle. Here, let me just snuggle up to you. And then they they start kissing and making out and
Is that
stuff.
how you kiss?
Yeah.
That's
What
hot.
happened to the second chick?
She's sucking him off.
Also,
Wow.
same exact sound
No,
effects.
no,
for
it's
kissing
totally
and
different. That's kissing. That's
You're right.
sucking
It
off.
is different. It is
stuff.
different. It's different.
Anyway, so they're in there. They're having their little threesome, and then you hear a rumble in the ground, and then you start seeing bubbles popping up in the hot spring, and then whoosh, there's lava just. And then the next scene is the scientists from the Center for Lava Studies shows up, and it's played by
The guy from Jaws. And what about Bob? And
I was gonna suggest Jeff Goldblum. What's he
could
doing?
be played by Jeff
good.
Goldblum, but there also has to be a young
he's in
hot chick.
what's that movie he's gonna be in? He's gonna be in the Doctor Strange movie.
You know
right?
what?
The third Thor.
This
That's
fucking
it.
thing. I think it's terrible. I would not cast it this way, but Hollywood would. It would be Kate Mara.
Who's Kate Mara?
She's that fucking girl that's in everything.
Haven't heard of her.
Isn't
Oh,
that
is
it?
she the one from Fantastic Four?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, she's scary.
She's from Fantastic.
Right, Fantastic. If you ever Google her, there's no doubt in my mind that woman is a sociopath.
What's her name?
Because in like every Kate Mara,
Mara.
because in like every photo you see of her on like a red carpet or something like that, she just has these hollow, dead eyes, like she's planning on skinning her next victim.
Oh, that fucking chick. I don't.
you hate her.
That's the one who's
Yeah, well,
mouth,
she can't
whose
act her
mouth
way out of
scares
a
me.
paper bag.
Yeah, she was
Her
on
eyes
American
scare
Horror
me.
Story the first season.
Because again,
She's got-
like just hollow, dead eyes.
She's got great tits.
Yeah, well, that's why she would be the love interest for Jeff Goldblum's character in the movie.
Even though he's like 40 years older than her.
Yeah.
Well, so's his real life girlfriend.
So anyway, they figure out that this is just the start of a planetary wide reactivation of volcanoes. And then the second act, Vesuvius erupts again.
Prick.
Fucking asshole. And then the whole thing is like, oh well, we've figured out how to detect where the next one's going to be by measuring geological pressures. And they figure out that the next one that's ready to go is the supervolcano that's under Yellowstone. And if that one erupts, it will end all life on Earth.
What's the real life story with the super volcano under Yellowstone?
What he just said.
It's going to erupt someday.
In theory.
It could.
Don't think about it.
It hasn't erupted in a very long time.
But it could send us into another ice age.
Because the amount of material that it would eject into the atmosphere would be enough to create like a nuclear winter sort of scenario.
Yeah.
Shit, son.
It's genuinely horrifying. Try not to think about it.
So, I just think they should drill a couple holes to vent some of that pressure.
I feel like it's
sure
one of those
that's a
things
bad
that sounds
idea.
good on paper, but actually isn't.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yes, Futurama.
yeah.
Plug it up with Welshie. Welshie!
Oh, Fry. Already committed to him. Like a good fanboy.
And also the con moment.
Yep.
Yeah.
But even Shatner makes the mistake
He does.
that every person makes. He does not go, con! In the movie, he goes, con! And it's really quick, and then it's over.
Yep.
He fucked up.
I
He
think
fucking drank his own Kool-Aid, man. That's
when
what
it comes down
happened.
to it, you gotta do what the people expect. Because that's what they expect.
Listen.
It's like how he never said, beam me up, Scotty. I'm sure he's said it since then in, like, things.
Listen.
Can I say that for some reason I really enjoyed that he hooked up with Leela? I don't know why I enjoyed that, but it was a nice.
Oh, it's just
done
funny because
romance.
she apparently has a thing for egotist space captains.
And she kicked his ass first. And
did.
Nichelle Nichols was the one who took down Fry.
Yes.
Or no, yeah, Fry?
Yep, she
So
got Fry.
I was like, yeah, badass women in this episode.
And then Bender used DeForest Kelly as a bat.
Yes.
I love that. This admittedly is probably one of our least intellectual conversations. We're just pointing out references and giggling.
I watched the show.
And we've had some great tangents.
We have, but
About
it's also
volcanoes and
Impending doom.
hobbits.
I'm going to sing the doom song now.
it's also just nice to have watched something for the first time in a while that isn't painful.
Yeah.
It's nice to feel happy again while recording.
It's nice to feel happy again. Yikes.
You know, it's like it was the animated series, you know, really beat the shit out of us. And I feel like this helps remind us that there are aspects of Star Trek we do love, and this is why we do this. Or whatever.
This is why we do this?
I don't know.
What are we doing?
There it is.
Nailed
He
it.
wasn't in this one.
He was there in spirit.
They should have got Eric's in this one.
Also voiced by Doohan.
That's true.
Oh yeah, it's the only reason they couldn't. Oh,
Why wasn't Nurse Chapel there?
I think Majel Barrett. No, she wasn't dead yet. Was she by 2002?
2002?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Is she dead?
She's dead now.
Well, that's sad.
I don't think she was dead then.
Yeah, I was trying to look up because I know there's some of Jean in space. And I think there was some kind of effort to get some of her in space with some of the extra Jean lying around. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, all right, but I'm not sure that rocket ever launched.
I want to be fucking shot into space.
If you pay money, you can do it. There's a program.
There's
that
always
does
a
it.
rub.
Yeah.
Like with doing some of the ashes are supposed to be thrown into Shatner's face.
Yikes.
That was another sort of obvious reference we almost didn't mention was the tapes getting shot onto the planet. You know, it was designed to look like when they shot Spock's coffin onto the Genesis planet at the end of 2.
Yep.
And I assume the ship itself was probably a reference, but I didn't recognize it.
We haven't gotten to 2 yet in our lives, so.
Yeah, but I don't know like if it's a reference to something from one of the movies, or it could even be a ship from a different science fiction franchise entirely, because it didn't look terribly Star Trek-ish.
It's the Serenity. It's not, I know, but
I think I'd recognize the Serenity if I saw it.
probably.
Looks like a big firefly.
Fair enough.
It's because it's a Firefly class
Exactly.
starship name.
Like I'm trying, if I saw it, I'd probably know, but right now I can't picture it.
Well, it's a good thing this podcast is not about Firefly. It is, in fact, about Star Trek.
Yeah, no, less about Joss Whedon, the better.
Firefly was really good.
Fair enough.
I didn't hate Dollhouse. I enjoyed Dollhouse.
I didn't like Serenity, though.
The movie?
Yeah,
Why?
I just didn't like it.
I get sick of River.
Oh, I hate River. First of all, I hate River.
Good.
But second
I'm glad
of all,
someone else
no,
hates
I
River.
do. I
I
hate
get
her
so fucking sick of
so
her.
much. But what annoyed
She's like
me...
the Deus Ex Machina of a fucking show.
What annoyed me was that the last episode of the season, same, one and the same,
Yeah,
the season
true.
and the series. It's like she finally did something really big to help out, and everything was happy and great, and then we start the film, and everyone fucking hates each other again. And I'm like, this is not where we... When last we saw our brave companions, this was not the way it was, and it really annoyed me.
It's because Joss Whedon only knows how to write like 5 stories, and he was already out of them.
I liked that, God, what's his name? David Burkholz. Mr. Universe,
Oh, okay.
with the blow-up doll wife.
Yeah.
And I actually
For
wonder,
him.
like, real dolls. Did real dolls happen because of that? Real dolls that look really, really human?
No, those were going to happen as soon as someone could figure out how to make them. That was
Fair
just-
enough.
It's just like there will inevitably be sex bots
It was
once
really
we can make them well enough.
getting the fake vagina technology.
No, because I feel like there's been fleshlights forever.
I think fleshlights specifically are a fairly recent thing.
Fleshlights
they?
don't make their own moisture.
Well, they still have to.
Neither does a real doll's vagina.
Oh, wow.
I don't think.
Yeah,
I
you
mean, I
gotta
suspect
lube
you have
those
to
up.
put in lube.
Yeah.
What just
Squirt it.
happened?
Put a few squirts.
We're talking
in
about
there.
sex dolls.
Anyway, Futurama.
And pocket rockets.
Where they, of course, you can download the image of any celebrity you want and make out with them.
We don't have that, but we do have Lucy Liu.
It's true, we do.
Yeah, we have the real Lucy Liu. We can make out with her anytime we want.
You
That is
can?
You
not
have Lucy
true.
Liu here?
Is that what that banging from your basement door is?
Banging.
Oh, God. Poor Lucy Liu.
Jesus. I know, it's bad enough she's on a terrible Sherlock Holmes show.
We're sorry,
This is
Lucy
taking
Liu.
a dark turn.
Yeah, I don't know what's happened.
Yeah, I know, we've gotten a bit
This
punchy.
is the taint of the animated series. Taint.
The whole of the animated series was fucking taint.
The whole.
What is so Lucy Liu's still working, huh? I can't.
Yeah, they're still doing Elementary. She's still
I've
Watson.
never watched that show.
I'm assured it's actually better than it looks, but I don't think it looks very good.
People seem to like it.
I
Were
know,
those,
people are dumb.
was it Robert Downey Jr. that was in a Sherlock Holmes?
He was in the Guy Ritchie movies with
He
Jude
was
Law as
good.
Watson.
Were those
he was
good
good.
movies?
Yeah, I
They were
liked them.
fun.
Well, I mean, like, were they good movies? I mean, they were action-y bullshit,
Yeah.
but they were good. I enjoyed them. And then What's Her Fuck showed up as What's Her Name?
That's a lot of
Isn't
placeholders.
Irene Adler in
This
it?
is just Mad Libs.
Yeah.
And it's who? ScarJo. No, it's not
Rachel
ScarJo.
McAdams.
Yes! Even better than ScarJo.
Yeah, Rachel McAdams.
She's hot.
She was on. She was in Doctor Strange.
Yeah, she was actually. That's right. I
I
forgot
saw
about
her, and
that.
then I was like, "Oh, good. I'm
She's-
glad you got work."
I forgot all about that. Anyway, so yeah, did anyone else have anything to say? Have we pointed out all the references? Do we have something to say that isn't pointing out a reference?
I probably got half a dozen more tangents in me.
Yeah.
Aside from that,
Nope.
Who wants to have their ashes blasted into space?
Me.
I want my ashes thrown into William Shatner. Well, he'll be dead by then, hopefully. I mean, no offense to Shatner, but I hope I outlive him because he's like 80-something and I'm in my early 30s.
I'd actually like to be converted into fertilizer and planted in one of those tree pods.
That looks like a good way to go.
Yeah, I like it.
Dogs will piss and shit on you all the time.
Sounds like my Friday night, brah. Gross. Sorry.
This has been A Star to Steer Her By, 10 Forward number 3.
But not canon.
Thank you very much for joining us on our, let's call it decompression episode, where we sort of recovered from TOS. Next week,
Yes.
TAS.
TAS, right? TAS, sorry. Next week, the program continues again as we tackle Star Trek The Motion Picture.
Da 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 da. Star Trek the Motion Picture.
There it is. I knew those were the words.
So yes, do please find and like our Facebook page, A Star to Steer Her By. We are on Twitter and Tumblr as SSHB Podcast. If you have iTunes, please consider giving us a rating and review and subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting application. For A Star to Steer Her By, this has been Chris.
This has been Ames.
This has been Caitlin.
And this is always Jake.
Thank you very much for listening.
Be sure to tip your yeoman.
Please use the beeps.
Squib. Beep. I like the second one. The second one's the one I watched the most.
That's
Yeah,
right.
me too. I actually did like the second one.
But wait,
I thought the Battle of Helm's Deep's pretty cool.
I just
Except for the fucking surfboard down the fucking stair. Fucking hell, have I gone off about that on this show
No, you
yet?
haven't.
No?
Are you sure?
Go
Not that I
ahead.
know.
'Cause this-
Usually it's Star Wars or
Oh my
Some
fucking hell.
recently clapping in
Wizard
I
Age.
apologize in advance if I have already ranted about this, but god damn it! I like the Lord of the Rings movies well enough, okay? They're fine. They're not the best.
No.
They're not great, but they're fine. The Return of the King blows, but the first two are okay. The first one's alright. The second one's got a cool battle. So the second one's fine. It's got a cool battle. Helm's Deep, that's cool. But you know what's not fucking cool? Fucking Legolas surfboarding a fucking shield down the stairs while shooting arrows off. Pew, pew, pew. It's terrible. It just takes you so fucking far out of it. And I felt that way for years. Every time I watch that movie, and I've watched that movie quite a few times. Every time I've seen it since 2002 when it came out, I was in fucking Las Vegas. I remember going to the fucking theater in Las Vegas, Nevada, and seeing the goddamn movie and being like, man, this is fucking great. And god damn it, he rode the fucking thing down the stairs, and I went, ah!
Now you know how I feel in the Star Trek reboots when Kirk rides his fucking motorcycle around.
But riding a motorcycle is a normal thing to do. Riding a shield down the steps while shooting off arrows. But anyway,
So
that's
Jake,
beside. Hold on. So I have harbored this for 15 years.
Yeah.
A couple years ago, the Hobbit movie comes out, and I'm like, oh, Peter Jackson's doing more Lord of the Rings shit. We'll see if it's good.
It's not.
Here's spoiler alert. It sucks, and there's 3 of them, and they all suck. Actually, I haven't seen the third one because
The
the first
first
two.
one was okay.
Oh,
The
God. Is
second
that the one
one-
with the stupid, we're in the barrels and we're going down the old
I don't remember.
The
I just
fucking,
know that I didn't-
so awful. Went on too fucking long. I know that
That's
happens
true.
in the book, but fuck it. It goes on too fucking long. They're in the barrels, but god damn it. God damn it. Who built that fucking Rube Goldberg? Fuck. Bullshit. Anyway, in the fucking, I think it's the second one, the second Hobbit film, when they're hanging out with the elves.
That pointy-eared motherfucker.
Those pointy, and fucking Legolas shows up for no fucking reason. But anyway,
Because he's
they
hot.
do the fucking shield riding thing like 10 fucking times in that movie. They just keep busting it out. It's like
It's just to piss you off.
it's just because they did it in the movie, and someone was like, and Peter Jackson was like, oh, that's so cool, and or really he was like, hey mate, that's cool. I'm a Kiwi, mate. Anyway, so he was. So he fucking did that.
It's not offensive. They're white people there.
Yeah, it's cool. And then and then he's like, I love that so much. I creamed myself so hard when I filmed that scene and edited it together. And I'm gonna do it 40 more times. I'm gonna Legolas, stop fisting me. It feels so good.
So, Jake,
Don't you dare interrupt him!
That's the end. That's the
I
end of the
think
story.
so should I consider myself lucky you didn't snap my copy of Breath of the Wild in half when they introduced shield surfing?
Yeah, the fucking shield surf. I mean, you know what? It's fine. It's fine when I can do it. It just took me so out of that movie. And then every time they did it in the Hobbit movies, it was like fucking needles up my urethra. It was fucking horrible.
Wow.
Chris, don't you dare edit any of this out. Don't you dare! Don't you dare!
I wasn't planning on it.
All right,
It might become the post credits, but
Ooh.